Before we do any more assembly today, we're going to try something to improve the evenness and smoothness of the mechanism. The kit itself comes with a bit of wax, like a candle without a wick, that you're meant to wipe over all the gears and the rotating parts, but that is incredibly difficult to fix. So what I thought I'd try was some of the dry lube that you saw right at the beginning of the video there, spray on silicone spray, and it has made a huge difference. As you just saw, the smoothness and the ease with which the mechanism worked is transformational. Whether it works for a long time on wood and whether it needs to be reapplied, only time will tell. So what we're doing today is we're fitting the front part of the model that we assembled last time. It's been fitted there, and we're just checking that the mechanism works. Absolutely worried all the time that the next phase will stop the mechanism working, and as you see there, it's still moving very smoothly. So pre-assembled the back piece, just going to fit that in place as well, just making sure it aligns and everything is right before we clip it in. What had happened there is that I hadn't got that part pushed in quite properly and had to press it in against the edge of the desk. So we've got the front and the back on. Next is the top, which is forming, I guess, the roadway that the cyclist is going to move along. Again, it's lining up quite a lot of different bits, but there it is, all pressed in place. And still checking that everything works, that there's a gap between the rotating road surface that is going to drive the wheels of the cyclist and they're not rubbing on the top. Next, we're going to assemble the parts to hold the bottom together. There's a sort of loop that clips together just above the base. We're going to put the base on very shortly. It is quite important that this lines up correctly. You can see that I'm just making sure that I've got it right, and I've got it wrong, and I'm going to have to move it again. So the next part is the base that it's going to stand on. Again, it's one of those parts that you have to push out the middle, but the middle also contains parts that we're going to be using later, so you've got to be careful you don't throw the wrong part away. So the base is fitted, and we're now going to fit some feet to the base. The feet comprise of 8 little square parts with a hole in the middle, and 8 pieces of elastic band. And the band fits over a standout, and the square piece locks that in place. And that means that there is some grip on the part, on the whole model, when it's standing on the floor. So it's not standing on bare wood, it's standing on 8 pads of rubber band. The first one here, you can see that you've got to poke the band down the gap either side, and then you push what is effectively a rubber band retaining part onto the base. There's 8 of these feet parts to do. So the point we've reached now is that 95% of the base, the mechanism, the stand and the top is built, and we're now moving on to the cyclist and the rider. There are many, many small parts for the cyclist and rider. Part of it involves cutting some axles with cocktail sticks. One of the tools has got a depth gauge in it that you use to mark off cutting those axles, and you have to be very careful to assemble it in the right order. So this is part of the frame with the back wheel that I'm doing at the moment. You see there I've put a little bit of the silicone grease, silicone lubricant on to make sure that it spins easily. There are many, many parts to this, and given that the base unit is going to drive the bicycle wheels and the bicycle wheels are going to drive the cyclist via a rubber band, it is clear that the friction must be minimised. So after about 15 to 20 minutes of assembly, lots of small parts, reasonably frequently using the silicone spray to keep it spinning properly, spinning easily, we're now at a point where the bicycle itself is assembled, and we're just checking that the rubber band that acts as the chain also drives the wheels. So fairly satisfying, quite a complex part, but you can see there that when I turn the chain wheel, the back wheel turns as well. And there is the pretty well completed bicycle.